startup called.
All right, I'm just getting into this game. Looks like everybody else is in there.
Been charged with federal fraud and identity theft. Carvalho was placed.
Looks like I got some teammates out there already getting kills while I'm not.
This past Sunday night, it was all suddenly over.
So of course we gotta wait till we get in.
Alberto Carvalho was. He was not just running schools. He was a political operator on the platform. He held press conferences with Gavin Newsom to shield illegal aliens from ICE, calling immigration enforcement in schools immoral, unethical, illegal. This was a man who had turned the nation's second largest school district into a progressive city-state, using $6 million public money to fund an AI chatbot that never worked, whose founder is now in federal court on fraud charges. Now, historically, those kinds of shenanigans would have been solely under the jurisdiction of the individual state. The federal government wouldn't have even been aware. And years, progressive school superintendents like Carvalho operated.
Wow, these guys don't have a kill yet.
Inside what I would call sort of the administrative state at the state level, using public funds to advance ideological projects while simultaneously.
There was one out here. There he is, up there.
As resistance figures against federal authority. What's so significant here is that these FBI raids signal that era of unaccountable managerial fiefdoms is ending. The sovereign people, through their Trump federal government, are reasserting over.
Well, it's nice to have players. 1, 2, 3, 4 on my team. 1, 2, at least 2 on the other.
So what we're seeing here.
But what's crazy is nobody's scoring.
Corruption, because Carvalho isn't obviously the only California official with the feds breathing down his neck right now, not by a long shot. As we speak, FBI agents are currently swarming Skid Row, part of Los Angeles' homelessness crisis, after viral video surfaced appearing to show homeless individuals being paid to vote for Karen Bass in the June 2nd primary election. The videos, multiple homeless people describe being approached by Bass campaign workers and offered cash or gift cards in exchange for their votes. The DOJ confirmed it is indeed investigating a criminal matter. The FBI is on the ground interviewing witnesses, and if you're keeping score at home, the mayor of Los Angeles, who built her entire political identity around compassion for the homeless, they have been using those same homeless people as purchased votes. Not housing them, not feeding them, using them as a political prop for cash. And the ironies are just too much to bear. The very population
Quinlan.
of Bass and Grease Monkey Newsom claim to be spending $24 billion.
Quinlan went down pretty easy.
They appear to have become allegedly a vote-buying operation for the Democrat machine that created the crime. She's sitting at the center of her own mountain storm. If you can believe it, her deputy mayor, Brian Williams, the man she appointed to oversee public safety, actually had his home searched by the FBI over an alleged bomb threat he made against City Hall. He actually has since pled guilty to that. And then there's that homelessness. You remember that California spent $24 billion on homelessness programs with virtually no tracking of where the money went. A charity executive in South LA received $23 million in homeless housing funds, and he used it to buy himself a $7 million house in Westwood, a $125,000 Range Rover, private school tuition for his kids, and a vacation home in Greece. It appears that Bass is sitting on the top of an entire web of LA corruption. But no one, absolutely no one, is facing more federal scrutiny. Governor Grease Monkey himself. Wait until you see this. But speaking of corruption, you ever wonder how people like Nancy Pelosi seem to know exactly when to buy certain stocks? How politicians seem to have secret knowledge of what's going to do well in the market? Well, it's all insider trading. Bottom line, Pelosi and her cronies have been getting away with it for years. But guess what? You and I actually have access to that very same inside information. Thanks to a little SEC loophole, we can track what the big corporate CEOs are buying up in real time, and then we can just ride their coattails into financial success legally and ethically. Once you learn the secret of the trade you're in, now to do that, you got to join me along with my good friend and trading expert, Ross Gibbons, this Thursday, June 25th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Ross is the real deal. His insider tips have led to returns of over 200%. Some have hit nearly as high as 1,500%. It's going to be absolutely huge, but seating is limited. So click the link below, snag one of the remaining online seats. It's going to change your life, and you can't afford to miss it. As we speak, Bruce Newsom is under a federal investigation for repeatedly pressuring companies regulated by California to donate millions to his wife's nonprofit and then rewarding those companies with hundreds of millions of dollars in state contracts. It is your classic pay play. Now, ironically, this investigation wasn't started by the Trump administration. It started under the U.S. Attorney's Office in Sacramento, California's own capital, based on whistleblower tips from inside Newsom's own staff. Jennifer Siebel Newsom, the governor's wife, runs a gender equity nonprofit called the California Partners Project. And Gavin funneled over $4.4 million from what are called behested payments into his wife's nonprofit from companies doing business with or regulated by the state of California, and then in turn gave those companies sweetheart deals. So AT&T donated $185,000 to Jennifer's nonprofit, but then they received $260 million in state contracts. Comcast donated $15,000 and received $20 million from the state. Kaiser Permanente donated $20,000 and received $172 million. You see the pattern, right? Pay to play. The state of California plays ball. The California Fair Political Practices Commission already fined Newsom $13,000 for failing to report over $14.3 million in behested payments. So he's already been caught once. Now the feds are treating that fine like smoke, and they're looking for the fire. Now, here's what's so fascinating. Unfairly targeted by a Trump-initiated witch hunt. You'll notice something very interesting. Thus far, not a single Democrat has stepped forward.
Shouldn't have came at me, dude. He came right at me, so didn't show until the last minute. Looked like he was lining up to shoot me. So that's a, yeah. Now, is he going to be a dick and come back at me?
Not Pelosi, not Harris, not anyone else has gone.
I don't see him. So he knows it was a mistake.
If ever there were deadly silence, it's that. So let's zoom out and name what we're actually looking at here. The superintendent of the second largest school district in America under FBI investigation resigned in disgrace. The deputy mayor of Los Angeles just pled guilty for actually making a bomb threat against City Hall. The governor of California under federal investigation for pay-to-play corruption. Billions of dollars of homeless funds disappearing into the pockets of politically connected nonprofits. Viral videos of homeless voters allegedly paid to cast ballots for their incumbent mayor. These are not isolated incidents. These are the fruits of a Democrat political machine that has run California for decades without any accountability, without any transparency, and without any consequences. Money flows from the taxpayers to the state, from the state to the cities, from the cities then to all these nonprofits, from the nonprofits to the politically connected, and somewhere along the way, it disappears. Everyone gets paid, everyone gets cut, they're cut, everyone that is, except the homeless people sleeping on the streets of LA, that all that money was supposed to be helped, and of course, without taxpayers getting any bang for their buck. The good news is that J.D. Vance and his anti-fraud task force have California.
Come on, let's get back out there. Let's go, let's go.
Active in LA, the IRS is watching Sacramento, grand jury subpoenas are flying, and with Newsom fuming and his superintendent resigning in disgrace, the reckoning that California's ruling class never thought would come appears to be finally at hand. What I just shared with you barely scratches the surface. I put together a free mini ebook that goes deeper into everything we just talked about. The collapse of the globalist order, the rise of a new civilization rooted in faith, family, and freedom, and what it means for your family right now. It is completely free, no catch. Click the link below, grab your copy, and get the full picture. Because once you understand what is actually happening in this moment, you cannot unsee it.
I trained the Suno model on my own music, and the first thing it generated sounds just like me. So I uploaded a handful of my tracks into Suno's custom model feature, basically teaching it how I make music. And now when I start creating inside Suno, it feels like an extension of me. The ideas come back in my lane. My chords, my textures, my vibe. That part honestly surprised me. It feels less like using a tool and more like working with something that already understands how I think musically. If you got even a few tracks sitting on your laptop, upload them into a custom model on Suno and see what happens.
Here we go. Ah, sucker. What a fucking loser. Did he really just bail out on me like that? At least I got credit for the kill. Dang it. I got a feeling that was a teammate that was behind me trying to shoot me down, but I got first place. So, first place. Move me up at all? Still 21st place? Is that right?